Hey, you guys, welcome to the Happy and Healthy with Kerry Show. I'm super excited to be with you today. As you're coming on, go ahead and post below. Say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I always love to know. And let's jump right in. So today's topic is all about becoming the one to find the one. And I think this topic is so important. I was recently helping a client of mine who is super committed to finding her soulmate this year. Like that is her number one priority. And I love that priority. I remember when I had that priority myself. I'm now married and have been for a few years. But I remember when I was in that stage of dating and vision boarding for who is I going to attract my mate, and doing everything I could to make that happen. And for many years, what I realized was, I didn't realize it when I was doing it, but for many years what was happening was that I was really focused on who is that person, finding that person. I was so focused on that I wasn't focusing on who am I being. And one of the greatest lessons I learned through dating before I found my husband, one of the greatest lessons I learned from dating, and because it is a journey, right? You do learn a lot about yourself, that's for sure. But one of the greatest lessons I learned was who I am being is who I will attract. And in many cases in our life, not just in dating, but in many cases of our life. So one of the things that I realized through dating was to make friends with my emotions. So at the time, I didn't have, I actually had done a lot of work. I've only been with my husband probably about 3 or 4 years. And I had done a ton of personal development work on myself because I was really clear that I wanted to attract a different type of person than I had attracted in the past. And so that personal development work that I committed to and I prioritized definitely put me in a position where I stopped being desperate. I stopped hoping I was going to get picked. I stopped looking for a baby daddy. I stopped looking for perfect, and I started to really slow down. And when I was on a date, I became curious and interested, like, who is this person in front of me? What are the adventures that they've been on in their life that have molded and influenced them to be the person that they are today? And I started to have a lot more fun with it that way versus getting so caught up in it, right? Caught up in, oh, I hope he's the one. I hope this is going to put an end to my dating career and I get to settle down and do all of that. But some of doing the emotional work and making friends with your emotions so that your emotions don't spin you out when maybe you're attracted to somebody but then they don't call back or they don't ask for that second date or whatever that is. Like being so confident in who you are and your value and your worth and what you have to really like contribute to a relationship, I think is incredibly important. So having the emotional mastery so that you're not so caught up in jumping into a yes or feeling so crushed or deflated if it doesn't work out, but really keeping your eye on your long-term vision. Like, who do you really want to attract, and who do you get to become to attract that person? So believing from the get-go that your person is out there. And maybe it's not like it hasn't been a straight path into finding them. Like for me, it was like, oh my gosh, it took a while, took a lot of ups and downs. But really, like I always believed as long as I don't quit, I will eventually meet that person. And I remember thinking to myself, like I would think like, okay, if I were to look at a calendar, like and I could circle the date, like circle the date with a red marker, the date that I'm going to meet my soulmate, even though I didn't know what that date was. So it was an exercise in believing, right? And I would think, okay, if I could circle the date on my calendar in regards to the date I'm going to meet that person, every day that I continue to show up in the vision of making that happen, even if it didn't happen that day, every day that I show up in the commitment to that vision, when the sun goes down, that's another day under my belt. That's another day on the calendar where I am one day closer to meeting them. Right. And I would tell myself that. And I would also like not only believe that that person was out there also looking for me, but continuing to focus on how can I continue to develop myself so that I feel really good about who I am, and I stop trying to be perfect, but I allow myself to be perfectly me. And there's a distinction there to that. There's a very clear distinction there. So the other thing that I want to ask you, and this is something I worked with a client recently, is what's really in the gap? Like, what's been holding you back from meeting that person up until this point? And when I was working with my client, what we discovered was she was waiting to lose that last 5 pounds. She was waiting until her house was totally organized, because if she's going to invite somebody over to her house, she wants it to be really clean and organized and perfect. Like she was creating all of these yes buts. I will win. Once I have this, I will go for that. Right? And all of these conditions that she was putting on herself and her life and her home and her body and all this stuff, all it was doing was really just holding her back from really going for it. Right? And so then we started to dig deeper. Well, what's really going on here? And we started to do some little girl work from her childhood, and looking at what were some of the ideas she had about marriage and relationship. Like, what were the examples that she had? We did some big work. She was awesome. She's so coachable, and she stood in the fire with me. And because of that, she got a massive breakthrough. And I know that her getting that massive breakthrough is what's going to catapult her to the next level. I'm not saying it was easy to stand in that coaching, but I know that it's going to catapult her to the next level in regards to becoming the one to attract the one. So I share all this with you because just like my client, like she's a new client of mine, but she's done so much work with other programs and read books, and she's done all this stuff. But I tell you, the coaching she got here was different than anything she had gotten before. And it opened up a new level for her of what's possible, and a new level in her belief system. And it opened up an awareness around how her mind has been programmed to think up until this point. And I bet that she's going to start to see some results quickly based on the coaching she just got, because she's coachable. She'll breathe life into it. Now, here's the thing. She was not able to get that breakthrough until she did this work with me, right? And with our team, she wasn't able to get there, even though she's read a ton of relationship books. She's done relationship programs. She's done all this stuff. But it wasn't until she came in and got the proper support. And then, I added in some strategy to help her. But until she got the proper support, she stayed stuck. So I'm just curious, where are you in this situation? Are you in a great relationship? Are you looking for a relationship? Have you focused on yourself, your own personal development? Have you become the one to find the one? I would love to hear. Post below. I would love to hear from you. And we have some really exciting announcements and releases that are coming up. So make sure to watch your inbox, your email inbox, so that we can share some really incredible gifts that we've been working very hard on, and they're all coming to fruition. They're about to happen. So make sure to watch your inbox for any announcements from us. Post below, and thank you in advance for hitting share, sharing this this training with all your girlfriends on your own social media platforms. I super, super appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'll see you on the next show. Bye.